In 1935, a Belgian factory finished building a pistol that its creator never lived to see. John Moses Browning had died 9 years earlier, his final masterpiece incomplete on his workbench. The engineers at Fabrique Nationale in Belgium picked up where he left off, refined his design, and produced a pistol that would go on to serve in more armies, more conflicts, and more countries than almost any other handgun in history. Britain looked at it and called it overrated. The British Army examined the Browning high power in the late 1930s, considered it alongside other options, and decided it was not what they needed. They already had the Webley. They had the Enfield revolver. A new pistol from a Belgian factory was not a priority. Then the war came. Belgium fell. The factory that built the high power was captured by Germany. The Nazis put it to work building the same pistol for German officers. Canada set up a parallel production line to build it for the Allies. French resistance fighters smuggled them across occupied Europe. Special operations executive agents carried them into some of the most dangerous missions of the entire war. The pistol Britain called overrated became the most fought-over handgun of the Second World War. This is the story of the Browning high power. John Moses Browning is the most important firearms designer in history. That is not an opinion. It is a statement supported by the catalog of weapons he created. The Browning automatic rifle, the M1911 pistol, the M2 heavy machine gun, the Auto 5 shotgun. Browning designed weapons that are still in service today, more than a century after he drew the original sketches. No other individual has contributed more to the development of modern firearms. By the 1920s, Browning was working on what he intended to be his definitive pistol design. He had already created the M1911, which the United States Army had adopted in 1911, and which would remain in American military service until 1985. But Browning believed he could do better. The French military had issued a specification for a new service pistol. They wanted a semi-automatic, double-stack magazine, at least 10 rounds of capacity, chambered in 9 millimeters. Browning set to work. He was working in the Fabrique Nationale factory in Liège, Belgium, when he died in November 1926. The pistol was unfinished. The double-stack magazine design was complete. The overall layout was established. But the details of the mechanism still needed work. FN's engineers, led by Dieudonné Save, took Browning's incomplete design and finished it. The result, introduced in 1935 as the FNHP or Grande Puissance, high power, was everything Browning had intended. 13 rounds in a double-stack magazine, a single action trigger. The same basic operating system that Browning had refined across decades of pistol design. Chambered in 9mm parabellum, the cartridge that was rapidly becoming the standard for military pistols across Europe. It was, by any objective measure, the most advanced military pistol available at the time of its introduction. The British Army was not impressed. This requires some explanation, because the British Army's indifference to the high power in the late 1930s looks baffling in hindsight. Here was a modern, high-capacity, reliable 9mm pistol from one of the most respected manufacturers in the world. Why would any serious military establishment not want it? The answer lies in British military culture and procurement priorities of the era. The British Army had a complicated relationship with semi-automatic pistols. The Webley service revolver had served reliably through the First World War and beyond. The Enfield No. 2 revolver was in production. There was institutional resistance to the complexity and perceived fragility of semi-automatic designs compared to the simple, proven revolver. There was also a caliber argument. British military pistol doctrine had settled on larger caliber revolvers. The 9mm cartridge that made the high power so practical in European military terms was not universally accepted as adequate in British military circles. And there was the straightforward reality of procurement priorities. Britain in the late 1930s was rearming rapidly across every category of weapon: fighters, bombers, tanks, artillery, rifles, machine guns. The sidearm, which most military planners correctly identified as the least important individual weapon in modern warfare, was not at the top of anyone's list. The high power was examined. It was evaluated. It was found to be capable but not essential. Britain passed. In May 1940, Germany invaded Belgium. Within weeks, the country had fallen. The FN factory in Liège, which had been producing high powers for the Belgian army and for export, was captured. The Germans recognized immediately what they had. The high power was better than most German service pistols in several important respects. The 13-round magazine capacity far exceeded the 8-round Luger or the 8-round Walther P38. The 9mm caliber was identical to German standard pistol ammunition. The manufacturing facilities were intact and operational. Germany put the FN factory to work. Belgian workers under occupation were forced to produce high powers for German officers. The pistol that Britain had called Overrated was now being carried by the officers of the Wehrmacht and the SS. But the story didn't end there. Because FN's chief designer, Dieudonné Sive, had escaped Belgium before the German occupation. He had taken the technical drawings for the high power with him. Those drawings ended up in Canada. John Inglis and Company, a Toronto manufacturer, set up a production line based on Sive's drawings. From 1944 onward, Canadian-built high powers began flowing to Allied forces. Chinese nationalist forces received them under Lend-Lease. British special forces received them. The pistol that Britain had declined to adopt in peacetime was now being built in Canada and distributed to British Allied forces in wartime. The Special Operations Executive was Britain's Sabotage and Resistance Support Organization. SOE agents operated in occupied Europe, working with resistance movements, conducting sabotage operations, and gathering intelligence in some of the most dangerous conditions imaginable. SOE agents needed weapons that were reliable, concealable when necessary, and chambered in ammunition that could be sourced locally in occupied Europe. The 9mm high power met all of these requirements. SOE operators who used it reported consistent satisfaction with its performance. French resistance fighters who received high powers through SOE supply drops valued them enormously. In occupied France, obtaining ammunition was a constant challenge. The 9mm cartridge was used by German forces and was therefore available through capture or black market sources. A pistol that used the same ammunition as the occupying army had obvious practical advantages. The irony was visible to anyone who noticed it. Germany was manufacturing high powers in the captured FN factory. The resistance fighting Germany was receiving high powers from Canada. Both sides of the occupation were carrying the same pistol. British SAS units operating in North Africa and later in Europe also carried high powers. The pistol's reliability in desert conditions, its magazine capacity, and its accuracy at practical handgun distances made it popular among Special Forces operators who chose their personal weapons based on performance rather than procurement decisions. The Browning High Power remained in production for 80 years. It was officially adopted by the military forces of more than 50 countries. It served in Korea, Vietnam, the Falklands, the Gulf War, and conflicts across Africa, Asia, and South America. Britain, which had declined to adopt it before the war, eventually issued it to British forces. The SAS carried it for decades. It became, somewhat quietly, one of the most common pistols in British military service, despite never receiving the formal adoption that its quality deserved in the 1930s. John Moses Browning never saw any of this. He died with the design unfinished in a Belgian factory in 1926. The pistol that bears his name outlasted the empire that dismissed it, the occupation that exploited it, and the war that proved it. Britain called it overrated. The rest of the world spent 6 years fighting over it. History made its verdict clear enough. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more forgotten weapons history. See you next time.